Hello again, and welcome back to Should Have Turned Left. I'm Ben, PG Canadianized on the forums, at The Canadianized on Twitter.
And I'm Frank.
And today we're squaring off Circle versus Retribution. And what'd you bring today, Frank?
I brought Rahn, Imperatus, a Chimera, an Aspis, and Sylyss in his battle group. And then I had Eiryss 1, 2 Magisters, Elara with a Banshee, 2 Arcanist Mechanics, and 2 units of the Battle Mages.
Okay, and armory objective.
Yep.
Which did not come into play.
Totally useful.
Yeah. So I'm playing another one of the created lists from Painting with Menoth John Drunk Dojo. It's Kaya 1, Wild Argus, Scarsfell Griffon, Feral Warpwolf, Warpwolf Stalker, Ghetorix, Blackclad Wayfarer, Lanyssa Rysyll, Gallows Grove, Farrow Brigands with the Warlord, and an Efaarit Scout. And I have the bunker objective.
The Efaarit Scout, I always transpose the I and the T, that way it's Efaarit. Efaarit Scout.
Efaarit.
Sounds better.
Yeah, so proxies for my side of the table are going to be the Invictors are for the Brigands, and the Fang Knight Issian is the Efaarit, or however you say it. So
It's the Scout.
yes, that gun is nice when it hits.
Yeah, that was the issue I had with that model, even in Mark II. It looked like it could be really good for the factions that generally don't have very good move and shoot, so Circle Scorn.
Yeah.
Trolls.
I mean, Speed 9, Rat 7, Reposition 5.
Yeah.
I mean, when I have a forest like I'm setting him up now on my side of the table, it's a great spot for him to advance up, shoot something, and then
Move back.
reposition back, avoid reprisal.
Yep.
Anyways, what was it? You won the die roll to go first, and you opted to go first.
Yes. I'm playing a caster that wants to threaten the board with his presence, so I want to go first to, I guess, take over more of the board that I'm threatening. So you chose that side of the table, which you gave up a wall, and I'm assuming there's a reason why you gave up the wall.
Trench.
Yeah, the trench makes sense. I thought it was gonna be for the like obviously the trench has its positives.
Yeah.
You put something in there, and then it's very hard for the mittens and Rahn and everything else to hit those things that are in the trench. But I thought if you look at those 2 forests there, it creates a nice like LOS blocker.
It
And
really does.
Not being able to hit is always better than giving the opportunity to hit. So I figured that's why you took that side.
Yeah. No, I took the trenches thinking I can get my war beasts in there, have them defense 18 versus a lot of things, and they don't have Pathfinder, so they can charge out of the trenches.
Yeah.
Still be able to.
Whereas they
direct
can't
it ways
charge from
versus-
behind the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't charge from behind the forest. In the forest.
Yeah, I also looked at it as the trenches further up, and more of my army would potentially be able to benefit from it versus the wall, where it would be Kaya only.
Yeah, just Kaya.
And when I can just occultate Kaya to wander to feel safer, I don't necessarily need the wall. I do pray the Chimera, because I figure that Jack's probably going to be closer up, and I'm going to have more likelihood to kill that, whether it be with Brigands or something else, to move the prey token over to what I want later on in the game. Didn't figure you'd have a unit close enough, and I wasn't going to do Eiryss.
Yeah, that and Chimera's since it's my only arc node, that's a very good priority target to remove, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. That and with the point cost appropriately, they're more or less point costed to run up, throw away, and with apparition it makes it even more tempting to do that.
Yeah, I would think if you can find points in the list, 2 of them might not be bad.
Yeah. Oh, what was it? You could potentially upgrade the Aspis somehow?
Yeah, if you can find 2 points, you can get the Aspis in place of it.
Oh, hi, Eiryss.
He's back.
Oh, my camera's not there. I'll turn the camera on in a bit.
Well, yeah, so for my turn 1, I just want to... You don't have any AD threats. Your caster doesn't do any massive threat range extension. It's doing just hit and run. So my goal is to just push the threat as far as possible. Make it so that you're having to operate in a very small section of the board.
Yeah, and after you moved to Imperatus, I realized just his base charge range actually threatens that entire trench.
Yeah, if you can get him just an inch into the zone, you essentially can't put anything into the zone without being in his base charge range.
Yeah. Well, with the objective, I could get to the other side and...
Yeah, that's true. You can use the objectives to kind of block charge lanes, but...
Yeah,
when
you can't even kill your own objective until turn 2.
Yeah. When you add TK into the mix, though, it kind of gets a bit more tricky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, TK is such a good spell.
TK and then the push pull that the list brings and the whip snap and all that junk that you get with a Rahn list.
Yes, you have a lot of control elements in here. And then a Banshee on Elara. Good lord, Elara one is good.
Yeah, so I don't play Ret. When I would mess around with Ret and Mark II, I would grab Rahn, because who doesn't want to play Rahn, right?
I know,
so
right?
I have a few games with Rahn in Mark II. None in Mark III. I think this is the first one. And I think Elara is just one of those easy modules that you can put in a lot of lists. And Rahn does a lot to facilitate it with TK. Obviously, TK is a great way to facilitate anything. And then he also has things like Polarity Shield and Knockdown on a stick, and he has a lot of things. So bringing Knockdown with a Banshee, Rahn having Knockdown, Rahn having TK, I think it's just fine to have that package here.
Oh yeah. What was it? Yeah. Go Scout! Take that pot shot!
So one thing I noticed with Force
miss.
Barrier is Force Barrier used to be ranged and magic attack rolls. Now it's just ranged, which is odd. It still says you don't suffer blast damage, so that encompasses both ranged and magic AoEs.
Yes.
But you don't get the defense bonus versus magic anymore, which I thought was odd since they're magic guys.
Double check that actually.
At least that's what it said in War Room with the ranged, or it just says ranged instead of ranged and now.
Yeah, rather than pull up War Room, I just grabbed my old Mark II cards. Battle Mages... Nope, Force Barrier. Mark II was +2 def against ranged attack rolls and does not suffer blast damage. So, that didn't change.
Oh, really?
This is a big deck that I no longer use. Like crap.
I'm smoking the crack then. For some reason I thought it was ranged and magic on.
Oh, it would be great if it was ranged in magic, but... No. Either way, my guns are my guns are minions. Pretty much.
Yeah, the minions.
I have a spray with the Blackclad, and I guess Kaya has spells, but if Kaya is close enough to use spells, something's usually gone horribly, horribly wrong.
You have an arc node.
Yeah, true. It's a much slower moving arc node now.
You can waste 2 or 3 fury on killing a single dude, right?
-2 def and speed. It's worth it more for that.
Oh, is it debuff onto the unit?
Onto the model damaged.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be going after troopers with it.
No. Not typically. But no, just the more I play Circle, the more I realize I don't miss shifting stones. I play them a lot less, and I don't feel like I need them.
Well, especially the nerf shifting stones, right?
Exactly. It's because of the nerf to shifting stones that I don't feel like I need
I'm
them.
sure you miss Mark II shifting stones.
I miss Mark II shifting stones. I miss Mark II terrain rules because I could easily make my stalker stealth right now.
Which would be great for him.
Yes.
Yeah, so having occultation is definitely good. But doesn't Kaya 2 just do it better with
Shadow Pack.
Yeah.
Kaya 2 doesn't have the map buff, though.
Yeah, she gives free charge, right?
No, she lost that even.
Oh, she lost that.
Yep. Also, Kaya 2 has only one turn of hit and run, whereas Kaya 1 can do that every turn.
Yeah, Spirit Door versus a feat.
Yeah. So, yeah, the back of Kaya 2's card is just flank and unyielding. That's it. No more alpha rule.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pack Hunter is definitely the better static ability.
Yeah.
Or
Agreed.
it's a good static ability to have.
Yeah. So, speaking of using the objective to try to block charge lanes and protect things, that's why the Stalker's where it's at. Because Imp can't necessarily get to it. Ghetorix is up with Spiny Growth, hopefully making that harder to kill.
And Occultation.
And Occultation to really make it harder to kill him. And then my Feral, I was aggressive with him, but still backed him up a little bit, hoping that...
It would have been real bad if you left him in the position that you originally had him.
Yeah. My thought was... I was kind of expecting Ghetorix and the Feral to take some hits. Hopefully only one of them would die. Actually, preferably the Feral. I was more okay with losing Primal than I was Ghetorix.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was expecting one heavy to die, and hopefully had a good enough counterpunch to deal with it afterwards.
And this is a tricky situation to put yourself in because you either advance into the get pummeled range, you have
I
to
lose
try
on scenario.
Yeah, you have to try and give something. That way you can counterpunch. Because if you give nothing, then my important things just hang back and I destroy the objective and push you out of zone, and there's an easy 2 points, and then from there it becomes give me things and slowly lose.
Yeah, and even then you have a bunch of spells and guns. Was it the Aspis is the only one without some sort of ranged attack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does Sylyss have an offensive spell now?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think he really matters, but let's see. Sylyss. Okay.
Nah.
So Sylyss doesn't and the Aspis doesn't. Everything else either has a gun or spell.
Oh, the Arcanist we can say as well.
Okay, sure.
But all these
so
things
your support doesn't.
All these things are actually just helping the other things, though. So they're not really. It wouldn't be any different if it were melee.
Exactly.
Like, sure, the Arcanist has a melee attack. Sure, Sylyss has a melee attack, but
yeah,
hooray if you kill something with it.
And with what you can do with your guns and TK, if I don't get aggressive to try to get the melee going, then I'm just going to lose quickly that way anyways. I will have 2 models potentially alive, and that will be the Scarsfell and whatever I've occultated.
So the good thing is at least you had guns.
Yes.
Because if you had no guns at all, then you quickly become welcome to playing Trolls in Mark II.
Yeah.
Where you have an all melee army and all the opponents you see are control. You're this sucks.
Yup.
And I mean that was Kaya 1's issue in Mark II as well. In those days there was a janky list where you played druids and you occultated the druids and you made a cloud wall with stealth druids.
Yeah.
And you used that to approach and hit and all that.
Well, the Kaya 1 list that I ended up playing a lot. And I used Moonhounds to take advantage of throwing in a ranged presence.
When the Moonhounds came around, I remember that.
Yeah, the Moonhounds and the Rotterhorns and abusing all of it. which my Kaya 1 list does not even come close to translating into the new edition. But
So right now I'm looking at how I can set up a few TKs because I want the Banshee. Ideally, my ideal scenario here is Banshee takes out Ghetorix, Imp takes out Stalker. I felt like you had the Feral too far back, but I ended up luck sacking into into getting him. The other thing,
yeah, I tried to put him in a spot where he'd kind of bait.
yeah. But I think with more practice with Rahn, you could do this very efficiently. One thing to keep in mind when you use your feet with Rahn, if you're not arcing TK, it's 12 inches.
Yeah, good lord.
That was something that we were, I guess, amazed to find out, because that makes his positioning really simple.
When you were amazed to find out. It was just much more interesting to actually see it measured out and go, holy crap.
Yeah.
And then the jokes with the Sphinx.
Yeah. And then, hey, Sphinx.
15-inch TK. Crap.
Yeah.
What is Force Hammer? Range 10?
I think it was 10. I kept wanting to force hammer things, but
It's expensive.
it's expensive and it's kind of tough to line it up exactly. Yeah, so it's range 10. So you could get up to 14 with the feet,
Yeah.
which is damn good, but
Oh, hey, he still has Chain Blast, too.
yeah.
That's really good under Sylyss.
Yeah, that's really good under Sylyss.
Thank God you didn't go after my Brigands with that.
Yeah, I think he could have wiped out 6. That depends on
At
the
least.
DV.
It's 2 AoEs.
It depends on the deviation, but I think 1 3-inch AoE direct hitting catches 2, maybe 3.
Yep.
And then depending on where the second one goes, it could catch 3
Yeah.
at best.
Yeah, with where the house was and the way the scenario plays out, I kind of had to clump up to keep my Brigands relevant to scenario and threaten things.
They were on the bottom of my priority target list, though.
Yeah, appropriately. They're slow.
So here I'm trying to pull out the Argus so I can get a whip snap off, because I think I'm like
The Banshee was about 2 inches shy of
Yeah.
getting to Ghetorix.
1.5 2 inches somewhere in there
Yeah.
from actually getting onto Ghetto. So I want to see if I can make something happen. I end up failing. My dice rolls started out really cold at the beginning of this turn, and then they just turned incredibly hot by the end of the turn. So I was fine with them being cold at the beginning with how the turn ended out. There could have been one thing that would have gone a little bit better for me, but overall it was a pretty good turn.
Yeah, you're... Good lord, this is probably one of the best Vyros feat turns I've seen. And it was...
Oh, I'm sure Virus wish he could have a feat turn like that.
Or not Vyros, Rahn. Dang it.
Yeah, both Virus wish they could have a feat turn like that.
Hey, Vyros 2 when synergy wasn't capped. But yeah, this is a huge Rahn turn. That is for sure. Where is the old?
And I think when you're playing with a caster like Rahn, and you have a feat of this magnitude, like, you just have to go for it when the opportunity presents itself. Because for a normal feat, if you get 10 points off of a feat and you give up very little in return, that's a very successful feat.
Yeah. Well, so now it's 20 points for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, Rahn obviously can have bigger turns, but
Yeah.
I think with someone like him, you just have to pull the trigger on it. I mean, there is some merit, especially in Mark II. There was some real merit in just Camp 8, walk forward with Rahn and hold
Oh,
feet.
God. Arm 24, yeah.
Yeah, but now that's not quite what it was, I guess. I mean...
No, you can whittle down the focus and...
Yeah, you can plink him now.
He's arm 16 base, so 21. But, I mean, that's still a lot of damage he can shunt off. But, yeah, there's a difference between being arm 21 and still taking a few points of damage versus being 24 and not even being worth attacking.
Yeah. And when he was doing that, he had normally neutralized most threats, and it required the caster to actually confront him.
Yeah. Hi, Eiryss.
And then he would just lay the beat down on the caster. Like, they get close to him. He's like, I can sacrifice 4 focus and TK you back, or 3 focus, TK you back, turn you around, and then I have another turn to sit here.
Oh, that's the other thing with the new focus mechanic is, okay, you take POW 10s to him, dice -6, you're only going, when you damage, you're only going to be about 1 to 3, at which point you're going, do I really want to spend a focus on this one?
Yeah, exactly. So,
versus being immune,
exactly. Back when, now, if I saw a caster trying to do that, I would just try and plink him and put him in that difficult position of, do you really want to keep taking a point or two, or do you want to start shunting some of the damage away?
Yep. And there goes Ghetorix like a little punk.
Yeah, the Imp had he had a focus to spare, but that was pretty much luck.
Yeah.
His charge attack, it was an average damage roll. His second swing was under by 1 point.
Yeah.
His
and
third swing was
boxcars.
under by a point, and then the fourth swing...
you killed him on the third swing because he had to spend 1 to charge.
Oh, yeah, 1 to charge. Yeah, so, the third swing was the boxcars. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
I only got 2 spiny growth damages on you.
And so the Banshee was able to get a direct charge onto the Farrow because I got lucky and I hit a 3, I think, on the push-pull.
Well,
I just
because you got the crit knockdown.
Well, yeah, the crit knockdown was also insane.
That was more important.
One, I pulled him into threat range, and then he actually died because it was a crit.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, that's fine, I guess, because if the Banshee didn't get anything into his threat range, essentially the idea was going to be have Banshee just dump his gun into Ghetto.
Yeah. Which I would have been much more okay with.
Yeah. Dump the gun into Ghetto and then have Imp try and kill him quickly and have extra attacks to put on the Stalker. And that would be how I had to try and get 2 dead with that. But that's obviously very unlikely versus just straight charging.
Yeah. So now we've got your second unit of battle mages going after Lanyssa Rysyll first,
I wanted to try and control the Stalker. Right now, Polarity Shield, it's at the back of the zone, but it's upkept on Imp. So if I put you out of a position where you can walk to engage me, Imp is fairly safe.
Yep.
So that was the goal, and then I started doing a lot of damage to you.
Yeah.
So I just kept pushing you away. Whereas right there, or maybe a little bit further back, he's almost in a fine position. I can start throwing the attacks in a different direction.
Yeah.
Like at the Brigands or whatever. But
I think right there, if you left the Stalker right there, you'd probably be okay because the objective was at an annoying enough lane.
Yeah, exactly, because the objective was just enough blocking you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started doing a shit ton of damage to you.
Yeah.
So I just went all in for it. I just pushed you all the way back to Kaya and kept throwing them at you.
What, you left him on 4 boxes?
4 boxes, because I couldn't.
That's right, because
I couldn't use Eiryss to deadly shot him.
Yep. Yeah. 4 boxes, all 4 in spirit.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, for me.
Like, hey, the spirit's alive. I can shake knockdown. Yay! It's something. And hey, a Brigand Tuft.
Yay, Brigands.
Yes. That Hog Wild order is kind of nice too.
Yeah, the Hog Wild's good.
Yeah.
That was always a really strong order. And now that they don't have to pray for Tough, that's probably the biggest help that they got.
Yeah.
Because I think they used to have to pray for Tough, and they used to have to pray for Pathfinder.
Oh, wow.
And
so 2 of their prayers are permanent now.
Yeah. So they ended up doing all right, I think.
Yeah.
I think they lost out a bit, though. I can't remember what was all just straight on their card. They were never good enough that you would actually take them outside of Pigs. Carver
and
specifically.
Even then, inside of Pigs, you only took them with Carver?
Yeah, you only took them with Carver because he gave them CRA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was CRA that he gave
Yes.
him. That was the only reason you took them. Because you use them as you put Quagmire on them, they run to engage shit, and then outside of that, they're just CRAing.
Yeah, whereas now with Prey and... Yeah, having granted Prey actually makes the UA worth taking on that unit. So before, I remember when the Warlord came out, looked at it and went, well, this would be a great solo.
Yeah.
But he's attached to a really crappy unit, so you never saw him.
Yeah, now I think we said they were shitty Idrians, which is probably accurate. And in Hordes, I think that's okay to have a shitty Idrian unit.
Yeah. Well, we have shitty Alexia.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, that's
if something's
kind of the
really
note of Hordes infantry, it's their shitty version of a War Machine one.
exactly. So if you're playing Hordes and you have a slightly shittier version than the War Machine one, that's probably pretty good in Hordes.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's Nyss.
Yeah, and then there's Nyss, which if War Machine takes it, then yeah, you got a pretty good unit.
Yeah.
Which I think Boom Howlers have fallen from that now.
Oh, yeah.
Nyss are the minion unit that is actually good and taken by anyone that could take them.
Yeah, pretty much.
The loss of an armor on Boom Howlers was just like, oh man.
Well, the loss of armor, the loss of super tough, and the change to tough.
Yeah. At least.
But hey, they ambush in Kingmaker.
No, I guess that's cool.
It.
Ambush on a medium base unit. Lol.
Yeah, that's now completely within 3 inches instead of within.
Lol.
Yeah. And at that point, they aren't screening like they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and maybe if their guns weren't so shit, then you'd be like, oh, this is all right. I guess they're less shit when you have back arcs on things. I don't know. It's just bad.
Yeah.
If they remained armor 16, you'd probably still see them in some places.
Oh, Efaarit second shot. Misses.
So close.
Yeah. Stupid Efaarit Scout.
Yeah, that poor bastard. He couldn't get anything done.
No. Anyways, my plan right now is to try to kill the Chimera to, well, A, kill your Arc Node, but more importantly, move that Prey token.
Yeah, moving the Prey token was key, and I think killing the Arc Node was also very important.
Yeah.
Because if you leave an apparating Arc Node around,
oh, jeez.
all that matters is that his Arc Node box is there.
Exactly.
And even then, when you have Apparition and TK, you might just be able, TK is rough.
When you can apparition back towards an Arcanist in order to repair it to get the Arc Node back.
Yeah, that's my point.
Not to mention disengaging and everything else.
If his Arc Node box is there, and he still has the generator, so he has Apparition, which they're in the same column. So if you have an Arc Node, unless he's on like one, no, he can't because A is before G. So you literally can't. So if he has his Arc Node, he has his generator, which means he's fully useful for what you want out of him.
Yep. Oh, Stalker, only regenerating one box.
Yeah, that was rough.
That was a little bit.
Because that extra die might have been the death of
Imp.
Yeah, it needed to be a 3.
It
was a 2 or 1.
God.
It would have been.
It would have. Yeah, he would have survived, but.
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
So I was going to try and kill the.
I wanted to activate
Gallows.
Yeah.
On my previous turn, and that's why I tried to put a guy within 5 inches of it. That way I could try and.
Boosted dice -6.
You need 11.
50% of the time.
You need 11. So I felt it was decent, but then I was killing the stalker, so I was just like, oh, just kill the stalker, and this is way better, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Something of note: my Blackclad Wayfarer missed a hunter's mark on Elara. Otherwise, I would have just had the Griffin charge up at Mat 8, kill her, make the Banshee inert, and then do the exact same thing I'm doing now, anyways, which is try to get Kaya the hell out of dodge.
Yeah.
Just, okay, what is the weakest flank? Where can I get the Griffin? And is it so close I'm going to die anyways? I hope not.
Not with occultation.
Exactly. And that's the one part I'm still kind of on, because I have 3 Fury left. I can either spend 2 for occultation or have 3 transfers. With all the magic attacks you had, I opted for stealth.
I think stealth was the better. I think stealth was the better choice because
Yeah.
you don't ever want to put
It's-
yourself in a position where you allow Ron the opportunity to fuck you.
Exactly.
So-
It was better to just flat out deny a large amount of attacks than hope I can tank a bunch with a couple extra transfers.
Yeah, especially with armor 13, because once you start getting hit, it's just
Yeah.
downhill.
Yep. But I did succeed in moving the prey token over. Remember that Entropic Force would stop Phoenix Protocol from happening, so pop the Gallows Grove up, and now I go after Imperatus, who is preyed by the Farrow Brigands. Dice spiked all over on this one. It was kind of like, oh, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Then I
and-
get a couple high spikes. It's like, oh, maybe it can still.
Yeah, it was looking pretty grim, and then you got, I think,
A 5 and a 6.
I think
well, there's
three-
a 6 damage
yeah,
one
I
right
think
there,
you got
but-
3 that were 6 damage after you said that, and that really turned it around. Because going from on average, you were dice off 4, right?
Yeah.
So on average, you're doing 3, and then when one attack is doing 6, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
quickly accelerating the
The other
death.
thing is 6 is to hit.
Yeah, the 6. I mean, and luckily you
I
hit
do-
all of them, right? Or you hit
yeah,
all but the
no,
last
I hit
one.
No, I hit every single one.
Okay, yeah.
There was just one of them that didn't do damage.
Yeah, one didn't do damage. All of them hit. So that was
And
definitely-
you did remind me that you upkept Polarity Shield, so with the Hogwild Order, I couldn't charge Imperatus, which that saved his butt for sure.
Yep, definitely.
So I figure, I'll just run to engage him. My Gallows Grove is there. You still aren't going to be able to use Phoenix Protocol to get everything back at the start of your turn, so you aren't going to be able to allocate or power up. Figure that was win enough in my books for the circumstances, all things considered. And I just charge Battle Mages because I can charge Battle Mages. Why not? 2 less guys.
Yep.
No control points. Objective is still completely ignored.
Yeah, so I have the option now of kill your caster or go for the scenario. I felt the scenario was okay to go for, but I thought it would be more pressing on the time, and I thought with
Yeah.
16 minutes I can just kill your caster. As to which is better,
If you had
um,
more time, it would be scenario.
I think 16 minutes is still doable in scenario because your attacks are much easier.
Yeah.
Like in terms of what you're going for, what you're killing. Like it's so much easier because
Very true.
you've left very little on this flank now, and you can be jammed out of the zone at this point. So
Yeah. I'm just hoping that. And that was one thing I thought about porting everything over is, do I still have enough on that side to be able to contest scenario to slow it down?
you have tough models, which they can
Exactly.
ideally they take up a second attack.
Yeah.
So,
So I have tough. I have the scout who is extremely mobile. Thankfully, there's no points for controlling flags.
yeah, exactly. So it all have to be
And-
done in zone, which
Yeah, which is you still have to kill the
I'm pretty
objective
much going for
and the
objective and
brigands.
dominate. So objective, brigands dominate, and then a following turn of dominate.
Yeah. Which,
Um,
good lord, Force Blast on Ron is a scenario.
Yeah, as long as I have the
You don't
Aspis,
even have to kill.
which is Aspis is untouched. Yeah, you just walk run the jack into position,
Oh,
activate
heck.
Ron, and force blast.
You could Force Blast Imp right now and shove 2 of the brigands out of the zone.
Yep.
Funnily enough, we also learned that Phoenix Protocol triggers off of disabled. Doesn't matter what disabled it, so it will work off of Free Strike or off of Eiryss.
Since he had 3 boxes.
Yep.
Yeah. So the idea, unfortunately, I was indecisive as to which plan I wanted to go for.
Yeah.
So I start the plan out by thinning out brigands and setting up Imperatus to have his reincarnation. Because if you reincarnate him, he comes back full systems with 2 attacks. He likely kills the objective.
2 attacks. If he's concentrated power, your dice plus 1. Yeah. Yeah, you're expected to.
'Cause
Average
you either
16.
give them a third attack or you give them +2. I think
Third
a
attack is
attack's
better odds.
So
But that becomes an order of activations thing, which you
Yeah.
ended up messing up anyways.
yeah.
There's a snake eyes for something. Oh, right, you didn't hurt the Brigand.
Yeah.
And then he toughs, and then he survives because that roll was a 3. But I wasn't sure what your plan was with the battle mages on this point, though. It soaked up a bunch of time, and it didn't seem all that productive.
Yeah. Their only goal there was to shut down the Gallows Grove and try and kill
Oh,
some.
that's right. You charged the Gallows Grove. That's what it was.
Yeah. So,
So now you can activate Phoenix Protocol.
yeah, which I look over at time and I'm like, I think it was around when I had 10 minutes. I said, I think it's better just to go for the assassination because I was having to read the cards too much to remember
Yeah.
everything my stuff has and your stuff has. So I decided to just switch over and do the assassination.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that shows right now is familiarity with lists. I have 35 minutes on my clock, and you're approaching 9.5.
I'm like
That's
a
the
Ret
clock
pro.
disparity
I
right there.
played 2 games with Ret and Mark III. That makes me like a pro, right?
Except Red is really popular right now. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean,
In certain metas, definitely.
yeah. I don't know. I'm debating actually playing them again for a little bit. I'm thinking about changing my color scheme for them, though. I've grown disenchanted with the green. It's, well, the way I did it, it's so flat and boring. There's really no shading to it, no highlighting.
Yeah, definitely a lack of shading to it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, highlighting's kind of...
Eh.
You can highlight some things and look really good. Other things you don't really notice when it's on the tabletop.
Yeah.
So, but shading, definitely. Shading's definitely where you can get at least some depth of color.
Exactly. I've been thinking about trying to do like a dark gray or black transit or highlight to a purple
Oh, that'd be
with
cool.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like a gray and purple
And
sort
then,
of screen.
For glows, I'm not sure if I would want to do red or blue. But just a darker colored theme for them.
Yeah, I also think typically darker colors look better on the tabletop as well. Sometimes if it's too dark, you don't see any of the detail.
Yeah.
But generally, if it's bright, it just kind of looks like a bright blob. Like when you're further.
Kind of like my Legion.
Yeah, when you're further away. Well, nah. Your Legion looks fine because the colors are differentiated enough, and there's enough dark in there so that the blobs differentiate themselves. But
Oh, but yeah, like a fluorescent army
or a white
or white.
army, yeah.
Yeah.
White,
Oh, God.
whites, the bright reds, like when you see people do Khador,
Yeah.
it just turns into this blob, and you're like, okay, yeah. So that's the
Yeah.
unfortunate thing is Khador armies often look like red blobs, and
do.
'cause red's also very difficult to do. It's
Oh, extremely. There's
and funny enough, so is white. So if you get Khador or Menoth right away, and you're kind of noob at painting, you'll just end
Khador,
up
Menoth, or Ret.
or red. Yeah, you'll end up with a blob army, and you'll be like,
Yeah.
this is not fun. That, and I think it's just so much easier to do flesh versus like the flat surface that the jacks have.
Yes.
Because if you do flesh, the flesh normally just has muscles built into it. Muscles means that it's not a flat surface. And
it's
because it's not a
easier to-
flat surface, you put a wash on it, and all of a sudden you have depth of color.
Yep. And another reason to change up my Ret scheme is it's something I can do with my airbrush. And
Yeah,
I can start using them to...
They're an almost ideal army for airbrushing because
Darn it, Eiryss.
they're almost uniform. They're almost uniform from like the infantry to the jacks. They all have like that same armor type.
Yeah.
So airbrushing is definitely 5 times. Sweet.
I blame the cat.
Super fast.
Like, oh, everything's going fast.
So we're going into super proxy mode.
Trying to figure out a slam angle for the Banshee to knock over Kaya. that would A, have the Banshee within 2 inches of Kaya, and B, not clip the Stalker on the way because slams are still center to center.
Yeah, center to center. So I had to TK. That way, the Argus is in a direct slam angle where I clear. And then from there, it's he's clear to just slam all that he wants and buy attacks.
Yep. By attacks, that would automatically hit. Actually, you know what? If you slammed 1 inch, then I think Kaya becomes safe because Path of Least Disturbance would push her.
She does. With where he was, I had to slam the 2 inches since he's an 1.5 inch base.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to slam the 2 inches to clear her, and I mean even she's a 1 inch base, so you have to go 2 inches.
You do. But clock runs out on actually a very good assassination run because, the Banshee would have left Kaya on 2, soaked up her transfer, and then Elara has 3 attacks at dice -4.
Yeah, and then Elara walks over for some fun times.
Yeah, so technically my win, but that is more due to I know both armies better than you do, and anything else. Ultimately, I definitely still lost that game. Kind of a fluke, but
yeah, it's it was a tricky ending to the game because
it was a well done ending on your part. Like you managed to figure out how to get to Kaya, hit her reliably, and not kill any of my beasts along the way to give me more transfers.
And that's mostly Ron, and the toolkit that he has. Like the amount of stuff he can just personally do. Like in terms of personal effect on the game, it didn't matter. Like it didn't matter what shitty sort of jack beast he had. Like if he was in hordes or whatever.
Yeah,
he essentially facilitated the death of a caster and 3 heavies. Like with his feet, his TKs, and his toolkit. So just toolkit and feet. He facilitated the death of 3 heavies and a caster, which that is. There are very few casters that have that level. Like Butcher 3,
Madrak 2.
Madrak 2. Madrak 2, Butcher 3. Cassius might have that level effect, but his is more geared toward the killing of infantry. I mean, Madrak 2 is kind of as well, but he can Blood Fury himself, and
he can Blood Fury build up surf, Fury.
Yeah, he could Blood Fury himself, surf to a good position, and then just kill 2 heavies himself easily.
Even then, Blood Fury on the right unit will drop a couple heavies.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, his personal effect would probably have to be on par with Ron because of feet and Blood Fury.
Yeah.
Ron and then Butcher 3 because silence of death.
Oh gosh,
suck things in, and feet. Like he has so much personal output as well. His is more direct than Madrak and Ron. So it's like Ron kind of less direct. Like he can just straight kill things with his spell list and his feet. And then Madrak he can kind of do both.
A little bit more personal to do it, and then Butcher is all personal.
Yeah, he'll just do it himself.
Yeah. Basically, it's how far away do you want to be from your opponent while you still shove it up their ass?
Yeah. And in terms of other casters that can do that, I can't really think of many. There's Haley 2 and there's Kruger 2 that are similar to Ron in their ability to control the board, but they don't control for death. They control for scenario.
Exactly.
So they're not really exactly
they
the same.
don't have the... Well, that's part of it with... Was it Madrak is a damage fixer with Blood Fury.
Yep.
Ron is both attack and damage thanks to boosted feet.
And then all the movement you get from the things that get the boosted attack and damage.
Yeah.
Like they're pulling or pushing, which enables any melee thing you have.
Yeah, a whole lot of boosted hits with crit knockdown is pretty solid.
That's pretty good usually.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody in Circle that can really.
There might be a Scorn caster like that, but I haven't kept up with Scorn and Mark III to really know. But Scorn would be the only other faction that I can think of that has a good mix of support and personal output.
Yeah. What does Reshef do now?
He would be on the far more supportive end. I would think something along the lines of like Xerxes, because Xerxes had.
Okay.
If he's similar, he has feet. He has
Xerxes
Fury.
2 or...
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. What is that? Fury of Halak, right?
Yeah.
There he is.
Oh, that one's 3.
No,
Oh,
Xerxes
that's
2.
2. That's 2.
Yeah,
that's
there's
right.
only 2.
Yeah. So
sprint flat.
his would be personal output. Yeah.
No, everybody gets S&P for
on
S&P for attack and damage. So it signs importance, not just flat boosted. Ignite, you want that on a unit typically.
Yeah.
Mobility helps. Ooh, warriors hit by stationary or...
Yeah, his petrify.
Yeah, I'm just curious. What, he's speed 7, range 2, mat 8, sprint. No, he does plenty on his own and can definitely contribute.
Especially if he's ignited. Which,
oh, good lord, star attack pitch on his mount.
Which, yeah, and you can get the ignite from Marketh as well. So,
no, you can't.
oh, do they change ignite?
Ignite is an upkeep. So anything with Spell Slave can no longer cast upkeeps.
I think he has a free upkeep. Well,
He can upkeep it for free, but he won't be able to cast it.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if he actually kept his upkeep. But, yeah, so Xerxes 1 is the one that used to be the big...
Tyrant Xerxes. There you go.
Used to be the big dick caster. He doesn't have Fury anymore, though, so... He's no longer the big dick caster. All right,
Nope.
well, all the Scorn people can tell us about their problems.
Yes.
Because I think there's been plenty of complaining about Scorn. Yeah.
Well, we're recording this on a Friday. WTC is tomorrow, so we'll see how Scorn turns out there.
So I think WTC is an environment. So personally, I think WTC is a very poor environment to like stand behind your faction and say, "Oh, my faction's not good," or is good, or anything like that. Because in that format, teams are essentially cherry picking matches, and if you have a Scorn player, you're gonna throw them to the wolves every time. Because if you win, bro,
sweet,
good job. Yeah.
If not, well, have fun against Wormwood.
Yeah. If not, take a Cassius for us. All right.
Have you seen those? Have you seen the stats with that?
I haven't seen stats, but I am fairly certain that 98% of teams have Cassius.
Somebody. Well, what is it?
That's a random percentage I pulled out of my ass. I would guess that there's I would guess that there's 2% that didn't bring it because they're too hipster. Like they're hipster as fuck. They're not going to do it.
Let's see. Wormwood is the highest percentage of any singular faction. No, Wormwood is the most brought Warcaster Warlock in the WTC. There's 34 people bringing him. There's 26 people bringing Madrak.
How many teams are there?
64.
Do those
Can't be right.
Do those 30 teams not want to win?
That can't be right. There has to be more than 64 because... No. Yeah, 64 teams.
So 30 teams don't want to win. There's 30... Wow, the hipster is strong in this community.
Well, get this. There's 34 Wormwoods. There's 39 Circle players.
All right. There might be 5 Circle players that are playing Circle with another Wormwood player. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And they're like, yeah, all right, you play Wormwood and Chromac 2. I think I can get by with Kaya 2 and Kruger 2 or Morvana 2 or something like that. So that would be my guess. Is that they're... Because if you're a Circle player and you're on a team that doesn't have a Wormwood, god damn.
Yeah.
So you're going to donate wins to other people. You're like, I'm here to help. That way not everyone hates Circle.
Yeah, there are 5 Circle players not bringing Wormwood, and there are 6 Trollblood players not bringing Madrak 2.
So that seems tough as well. And it's not because I think Madrak 2 is the best. Like, he gets a lot of hate. Like, people really like to hate on him because, he's overpowered, he's broken and everything. He's very good, but he is partially, like, his game is a little bit dictated by what your opponent brings in terms of, like, the overall effectiveness that he can have. But I think you should take him at least one on each team in this environment because he tilts people so much.
Yeah.
If you can just put up a caster where they say, I have to play against a Madrak 2 and a Cassius, fuck this, I'm out. Like,
so 2 out of your 3 players already have lists defined. That's not very good, actually, for meta and overall health of the game, though.
It's very good if you want to win, right?
Well, the thing is, if you want to win and the game has become so unbalanced, you have to have those 2 Warcasters or Warlocks, then it becomes like so many other games where it's just either I play this or I play the counter to this or I lose. And
I think in a normal tournament format, it's mitigated by the fact that they enforce divide and conquer.
Yeah.
That's what mitigates it in the current format. If they enforced 3 list DNC, I think we would see a much healthier meta. But because it's 2 list DNC for the primary format, I think the health of meta is okay at that point.
Yeah. Well, with no more character restrictions, you can do 3 list a lot easier.
I think 3 list DNC is the way that you actually, quote unquote, fix the meta, or at least you make it to where you can actually play some of the other casters that exist.
Yeah.
Because right now in a 2 list, you have to say, am I either banking on hitting the Cassius or Madrak, so you can actually build against Madrak 2.
Yes.
You can't really build you can build a list for it. And there are some factions that can build a list for Cassius, but it's, are you playing that faction or not? If you're not playing that faction, you have to say, all right, I'm going to hit the circle player when they're list locked into their other, and then I'm good. And Circle has definitely struggled to win with that off list.
You know what you bring against Wormwood if you don't have a specific, or if you're not in a faction that can see the tree and shoot it down?
What's that?
A crapload of armor.
Yeah.
Curse of Shadows affects 1 model/unit.
I think that's very...
And every faction can bring a bunch of armor.
I'd say some factions are far better at it than others.
Well, some factions are far better at it than others for sure, but
you can probably at least wound spam with every faction. Whether it's lights or multi-wound dudes or heavies that are just really cheap.
Yeah. It seems like you can do either that or just see the tree.
Yeah. So you either see the tree or you try and outlast the attrition. So you work through the 16-inch forest, then you work through the smaller forest with just the shifting stone or sentry stones, and then you can actually play a game.
Yeah. So while I'm looking at it, one thing I find
Kane 2. We'll just check.
Or
I guess I've been out of it for a while. So is Sloan still considered better than Kane?
I don't know right now.
Which one was taken more for?
Well, keep in mind these were snap decisions. Kane 2 has 11 players. Sloan has 8.
Okay. To me, that makes sense. I think Kane 2 is the better caster. But there was so much hype around Sloan that I thought she might overtake. But
again, consider a lot of these lists had to be locked in before anybody really knew what everything did after the new release. There's been a lot we've learned about how lists play and how Warcasters and Warlocks actually perform.
Yeah.
From the time these lists got locked in to now, because of.
I'm sure the Sloan players might. I think there's probably a good Sloan list, but I think Kane might be just the better option if you're working on 2
and that's part of it. The Sloan players had to build their list wondering if the rumored eroded feat was actually
the feat. Yeah, well, you'd hope that they chose correctly on that.
Yeah, no kidding. But no, one thing I find interesting in here, the top 6 factions, Circle and Khador have 39 players each.
Makes perfect sense to me. I think those are the 2 most dominant factions at the moment.
Yeah. Protectorate has 38.
That's surprising to me, personally, that there's that many
Protectors are that good.
Yeah.
Cygnar has 36.
Not very surprising.
And then Retribution and Trollbloods have 33 each.
The Ret definitely, I think, is a factor. The Trolls, How many players are taking Ragnar?
Let's see, Ragnar, that's Team Shaper, Ragnar 8.
Oh my god.
Madrak 2 is 26. Rage of Dunia, that's Doomy 2, right?
Yeah, that one's Doomy 2.
There's 10 Doomy 2s and then 8 Ragnars. Only 6 Kalandras.
Wow.
Wow.
So, personally, I would think that if you're playing Trolls, you would have the either Ragnar, Gumbjorn, and Madrak 2. But appears there's some more diversity there.
Yeah.
Because I think Ragnar is another good one that you put up and you can play against a lot of opponents, and it just sucks when you have to remove a die from every attack roll that you have. Like, that's a very effective time lock.
Okay, so now that I look at it, what was it? There were 5... Yeah, there's 5 circle players not bringing Wormwood. Just looking at preliminary numbers, there are 4 of them on teams with somebody else playing Wormwood.
So there's one circle player that wants to be a nice guy.
Either that, or there's 2 circle players on one team and it just doesn't show right away and I have to dig further.
Okay, yeah.
Which, that is... This graph does not break it down that way. But... Oh yeah, and Crix has 30 players.
That's quite a bit.
I know. They're the 7th.
Yeah. I'm fairly surprised on that one. I'm surprised that Trolls and Crix have that many players.
Me too. Legion's at 24.
That's kind of sad that Legion has so few. Because I think they... I don't know for certain because we'd have to look at previous years to know, but I want to say Legion was one of the more highly played factions in Mark II WTCs.
I mean, Crix last year had 2 teams that were 5 Crix players.
I think Crix was the most typically because their bench is so deep. But likewise, Legion had a very deep bench of casters, so you would see a lot of Legion being played.
By the way, guess the one Convergence of Sylyss caster that does not make an appearance. It's not who I expected.
Is it the girl with the angel wings?
No, she actually shows up.
Okay, my second guess.
There's one player with her.
My second guess would be the Synergy caster.
Syntherian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm surprised she's there, but Syntherian, he was not great to start with, and then the knock to Synergy he had it was like magnetic field or something like that increased your speed going at them and reduced their speed. That was very good, but it's less good with the speed not denying charges now. So that and the Synergy, it just seems like it'd be very hard on him to actually be effective in the meta.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised she's being played.
Yeah, it's only one person.
They probably have some assassination list in mind. Yeah, and it's one person. I mean, the fact that there's people playing Cock is probably a good sign.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean...
Because Mercs, I expect Mercs are fairly healthy. There's probably more Mercs than... Is there more Mercs than Scorn?
No.
Oh, damn
it. There's 15 Scorn players, there are 11 Merc players.
Oh, that's such a sad time for Merc players.
There are more Minions players than Merc players.
Wow, really?
Yeah, there's 13 Minions players.
I thought Mercs had a lot of fun, good, janky lists that they would see more play.
I think it comes down to, okay, Mercs are totally different, how do we play them now? Shite. Of all the factions, I think they got changed the most.
Yeah, that
just
makes
by
sense.
nature of they can now take everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But still, that is a surprisingly low appearance.
Yeah, I figured there would be more than Scorn. So there's some Scorn diehards out there. So I guess the next prediction: do you think any USA team will make the final table?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think Australia might make it again.
Make a final table.
Yeah.
Do you see one of the Australia teams that you think is particularly strong?
I can't say I've dived into it that much.
Okay.
But
you just think
I think Australia still. I think they still have a strong meta. It's hard to keep track of places like Poland who did amazing last year,
Yeah.
Well, what, Poland won last year, didn't they?
I don't know if it was. I think Finland won last year.
Was it Finland?
Poland.
That's right.
Final.
It was
Poland won the first one and final tabled the second one.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure about
Poland
the third.
won US 2
Yeah.
first year, and then it flipped the second year. And yeah, I think you're right. It was Finland and
Finland.
Australia.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep track of those, but
especially in the new meta and everything else.
But yeah, seeing who are captains of the US teams, I don't think they're going to final table.
Ooh, burn on those captains.
Yeah, I'll be impressed if 2 of them make top 5.
Is Flanzer and Pagani on the same team?
Okay, this doesn't have the breakdown of that.
If they're on the same team, we'll just go off of this. If they're on the same team, I don't know if they'll make finals still.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It depends on how in practice Flanzer is, I guess. I know he's playing Magic 2 Gumbjorn.
Yeah. It only shows the teams. It doesn't have the breakdown of who's in them yet.
Alright, well, I guess we'll be watching it tomorrow, I think, so.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see how it goes.
Oh, this is just going to be the results. It's not going to give.
Yeah, so it was Finland and Australia.
Yep.
And then, so the question I had with
Poland was third.
The question I had with the Australia meta is, I know the guys that did a podcast in Australia that they stopped doing that, and I'm not sure if they stopped playing or what. If they jumped on the Guild Ball train or...
They did Guild Ball for a while, and
but I think
some of them have come back to...
I think 2 of those guys, Trent and Moops, I think those 2 were some of the stronger players that they had in Australia, or at least the more consistent players they had in Australia. So, depending on if they're playing or not, I mean, as I said, I haven't kept up with as much. And then I think England also lost a lot of the players that would consistently do well. I follow Jamie P on Twitter, and I know he's playing like Armada now and shit like that.
Well,
he's the only one I really kept up with.
Didn't Jamie P kind of spearhead Guild Ball?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was even running Guild Ball events at the last War Machine weekend we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him running Guild Ball events there. So.
Okay. Well, is Flanzer on a team for the U.S.?
Yeah, he is.
Do you know which one?
That's why I said if he's on the same.
For that one to just get bottom.
I was saying if he and Pagani are on the same team, but you have a good point because fuck Broken 8 games, right?
Yes.
I like Flanzer as a person. The few conversations I've had with him, I've done one podcast with him. I've had a few conversations with him at different events I've gone to, and I like him as a person, but yeah, the business side of things just it's been sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my tray now has a crack about a quarter of the way down, split all the way through.
So you glued
it's broken twice.
Yeah, you glued the first break on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
Free tray.
Yep.
Who wants
Glad I have the other one.
We got a giveaway going.
It's customized.
If it survives the shipping, you'll get a free Canadianized Broken 8 game tray. So if you like Canada, if you like Circle, and if you don't mind a probably destroyed tray by the time it gets shipped, you can have some wood to throw in your fireplace. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. The thing is, the one that you have, it's like MDF. It's like particle board. The one that I originally got so I got a tray from Broken 8 Games years back. It was like when it was the first year of Mark II. And at that time, it was a guy, he only sold when Flanzer wasn't a part of it at that time. He only sold at conventions. He made these things in his garage. Mm-hmm. And mine's made out of actual wood, not like chipboard or particle board or anything. MDF, whatever you want to call it. And mine is rock solid. Like I'm not particularly nice to it. It kind of leans on things. It falls over, whatever.
Yeah, no, I have to be really careful with mine, apparently.
But mine's solid wood. It survived multiple trips, on airplanes and everything else. And yeah, I've never had problems with it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really good tray, and I used to recommend them to people.
Yeah, I use my Broken Egg tray as this is what I'll bring to local events for stuff where I don't really care too much. For a tournament tray, I have a Mechanica Studios one.
Yeah, now I have the Mechanica tray
too.
too.
I love that tray.
I have that tray too now.
Yeah.
Which
my
my
modular
girlfriend,
design, the drawers. And...
my girlfriend wants to use it as a nail polish thing now.
Oh, well, that's depressing.
She's like, the drawers, I can fit all my nail tools in there, and it's got all these nice circles where I can put my nail polish and stuff. I'm like,
that was a horrible use of that tray.
yeah.
But no, if you want a flat preset tray, I think Tectonic Craft Studios is one of the better ones now.
Tectonic Craft. I haven't seen their tray yet.
Well, they do the objectives that I have on that table. That's their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tray of comparable size and kind of has the same layered thing. Significantly cheaper.
Oh, nice.
And kind of hold up better.
So I'm not sure what the Mechanica is made out of, but if it's made out of, like, is it plastic or is it wood? The Mechanica, the ones that you and I have.
Yeah,
I think it's PVC. Maybe.
It's a PVC base, I think, because it will warp in heat.
That does seem like something. Obviously, the warping is not a great thing, but it seems like if you're going to make something out of a cheaper material, that's better than particle board.
Yeah. I'm
very hard to break.
The Mechanica tray I have now is my second one because I did leave the first one in my car a couple times and it just
New
warped
Mexico.
to the point of yeah, exactly. It warped to the point of I can't use it anymore. Some of the trays are a little warped, but I was able to get them back. So I have 2 sets of modular trays or modular slots and 1 tray to put them on, which is helpful. Oh, excuse me.
Well.
And then. Okay, well, more or less done rambling.
Yeah, just remember your giveaway for your firewood.
No, actually I have a fireplace right there if I want
to. If I really get mad. So if Flanzer doesn't get bottom, no, I think that team won't be at the bottom because I think last year the bottom team was like China or something, and
yeah, I don't know.
The players had just like not played very much and everything else. Yeah. So to get like, not everyone's there to compete. That's why not everyone's bringing Wormwood, and not everyone has a Madrak 2 on their list.
No, and like all things said, no, I agree. Flanzer seems great as a person. I will give him credit. That dude has some cojones. Damn.
Yeah.
But can't stand that company anymore. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.
See you.
Yeah, see you next time.
Oh, you're gonna move up a bit too. He's just like, yeah, cool, I got it.
Yeah.